So I think there are two very important things that observers do. One is they can get into the more formal or informal meetings if they're open, and then they can actually observe what is being negotiated.
I think we legitimize the process in a way because we're able to ask questions, to make sure that there's interrogation of the leaders and things aren't just being discussed behind closed doors.
I just hope that we've applied enough pressure and used our role as an observer to do more than just observe.
So it was an incredible experience to be there, very overwhelming in a sense. I'd never been to a UN event before. So obviously you had leaders and representatives from around the world. So it was great to be part of that conversation and that development of the outcome of Glasgow.
That overwhelming feeling quickly became one of excitement. I was at one point having coffee with an Indigenous representative from Peru, then a senior climate change scientist from Australia.
Most of the things that are happening there have been like the culmination of something that has been happening for a year. So what you see is somehow the tip of the iceberg, and there's lots of strings being pulled in the background that you might not be aware of but are still happening, and to understand how those decisions are made.
I learned a lot about how climate policy ties in together internationally. So essentially how the conference itself proceeds, but then most importantly actually how climate policy is shaped globally and what the important players are.
I was surrounded by a lot of diverse industry, and that was really important, and yet it still seemed as though these large emitters, large countries were in charge of the negotiations. I did find it inspiring, and yet I kind of left with more questions than answers.
While the formal negotiations were a mixed bag, although I think overall quite positive, but there were some elements that were very disappointing. The energy from civil society, the pressure to drive the change forward, to increase and hold nations to ambition.
So my hope is really that we keep this momentum going and we use COP26 as a catalyst. We now all agree across the globe that we agree on the science, we agree that action needs to be taken. And we know, for example, from the COVID-19 pandemic, that the power of researchers coming together to focus on one issue, what they can achieve is incredible.
For me, my biggest hope is that whenever we implement the energy transition and the net zero and all of these ambitions that we have that are very valuable and that we really need to accomplish, that we do it from a perspective in which we account for all of those that are less privileged.
It seems contradictory that those most affected by the climate crisis are the least heard.
So I think it's up for the people now to go back to their national governments and call upon their elected leaders to make the changes that have been put forward in the pledges. I think get active politically in your community or on the regional level or on the national level to bring about especially a transition in the energy sector.
So how can we ensure that low carbon lifestyles, travel, heating, powering our homes, moving around, everything that we do is fully decarbonized within the next 10 years?
I don't think that there is one change that is going to magically fix everything. However, every person can speak up in some sort of way.
People that are trying to do things right get discouraged because they fail in a part of it. You don't have to be 100% perfect in that climate action that you have. It's just that you keep pushing through and that you get better every time. If I can be as sustainable as possible in my household or in my research group, then that is my contribution. And those who have more power have more responsibility.